Sveta, local San Dimas resident and professor and PhD student.
Awesome. So as people come in, I'll let them into the room and we'll introduce them as they get here. But everyone is anxious to hear from our guest. Leslie Smith is the founder of McCormick L.A. Public Relations, where she delivers straightforward, results-driven marketing and public relations strategies to small businesses and nonprofits. With more than 30 years of experience running her own consulting firm, Leslie has built a proven track record of designing and executing comprehensive campaigns that strengthen organizations from the inside out. Her client work spans from one-person startups to global corporations, and as an entrepreneur at heart, Leslie has also taken her own product inventions to market. These ventures inspired her to begin teaching classes that simplify marketing for small businesses and community-based nonprofits. In 2020, she authored Laws of Promotion, a concise 50-page guidebook that distills the essentials of small business marketing, available on Amazon. She lives in Long Beach with her husband and their rescue dog, where they raise two daughters. Welcome to the Rotary Club of San Dimas. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I do have a handout, but Mr. Zoom Master, it says I can't add it due to administrative um, restrictions.
Oh
So I
my.
don't know if you can unrestrict it.
Yeah, I will do that. Go ahead and start your
Okay.
presentation. I'll
Oh,
work
let me
with you on that.
see. Let's see if I might be able to. Here, let me. Oh, yeah, it won't let me do it from my computer. Yeah. So if you can do that, that would be great.
I'll take care of that.
Very good. So thank you very much for having me. So as he said, I've been doing this for 30 years of over 30 years. And the first thing I did was join the Chamber of Commerce. So you from Azusa Chamber of Commerce, I'm pleased to see you and talk about marketing A to Z in the USA. That says it all, doesn't it? I love that story about Azusa, that's what it stands for, A to Z in the USA. So I'm happy to be here. Um, for years, I had done a workshop that I took Newton's laws of motion and turned them into the laws of promotion. And I did it for the Chamber's Women's Business Council. I did it for the local National Association of Women Business Owners. I did it for the Home-Based Business Council that we used to have at the Chamber, et cetera. And so in COVID, I'm like, I'm going to take that little workshop and turn it into a book. So I finally did. And the reason I did this is I had been working with small businesses and nonprofits primarily for a very long time. And a lot of times there's people who I consider myself very budget friendly, but there's people who, small businesses, bootstrapping themselves, they can't afford just the basics. And so I would do these, different promotions and things. But there wasn't even a resource, a book that I could refer people to that they would feel comfortable reading and getting up to speed really quickly. They'd be confusing jargon. It would be 200 pages. Even one of those yellow and black dummies books, like marketing for dummies, is about 200 pages. And that just seemed ridiculous to me. So I took the information from my workshop, which those of you who are more in your mature years, you'll remember they were overheads. So this was in the 90s when I used to do this. These are, you young folks, these are clear plastic sheets that we put on a light board that projected on the wall. So we've come a long way. So I took my clear plastic things and revamped it and created this book. So it became Newton's Laws of Promotion. And it's very accessible. It's 50 pages. And when I can get the handout in there, there's a link on the handout that you can buy this if you want. It's $10 for the hard copy. It's $5 for the Kindle version. But what we're going to do is just go through the basics of it. And it's simple to digest and implement, right? That's what we want to be able to do. So it may take you a half hour to go through that book. So the handout, let me see if I can add this handout again. No, let me try one other thing. It says that I can do it through Dropbox, but no, that's doing something else. Okay. But I can walk you through it and we can get you the handout later and it'll be simple. So at the very basics of marketing are the 4 Ps. Have any of you ever heard of the 4 Ps of marketing? It's an old concept, but it is standard and still holds true. They talk about it in Mad Men that was set in the 60s. So I learned this at Cal State Fullerton, and it still holds true, where there were many of my friends went to San Dimas High School. And when we watched Bill and Ted's Great Adventure, they're like, the high school, that's not San Dimas High School. So you're famous. So the 4 P's, and if you Google the P's of marketing, you will find models that have like 14 P's. Most of us are not there. It's talking about packaging and personnel and all that kind of stuff. It gets a little too complicated. If we just settle on the 4, it's easy to grasp and understand. So you can jot this down now. So what you want to do, it's the product. You want to be very clear about what your product is. What is it that you are selling, promoting? Anything that you're exchanging money for. So a lot of people go, I don't have a product. I don't make a widget, right? But if you have a service, your insurance service, bookkeeping services, estate planning services, anything that you're exchanging money for, that's your product. And you need to be very clear in what it is. Those entrepreneurs, all of us, we have a little bit of mission creep. We start seeing other things that we can do and other things we can do. And that may be a whole different you may have several different kinds of marketing plans, and you need to bifurcate your businesses. But think about your main business and what is your product. Be very clear about it. Then comes the price. And pricing helps you start coming up with a strategy. So you can be very elite, you can be mid-range in your pricing, or you can be bargain basement, right? So you can think of different products that are like this. Shoes. If you're buying your shoes at Nordstrom, or you're buying your shoes at, a designer shoe warehouse, that's a much different feeling, right? Think about when you go to Nordstrom, there's marble floors and beautiful escalators and somebody playing piano, and it smells good and everybody's well dressed. It's a wonderful experience. It's elite, right? If you go into designer shoe warehouse, you are picking your shoes out yourself. Nobody's waiting on you. They might sort of direct you to a certain place, but basically you see their inventory out on the floor and you're picking that stuff out yourself. So, and it's not elite. It's grab and go. And it is, more of that bargain basement. And then there's the mid-range, just the regular shoe store that you can find in your mall, that may have, good sales, etc. Maybe a hybrid of things on a table for sale, as well as somebody who can greet you and size your foot and wait on you. And you can see that in any industry. You can see that in furniture, from IKEA to Bob's Furniture Warehouse to Ethan Allen, right? You can see how that, and it becomes part of your strategy. Okay, so if you're walking into Nordstrom and you're going to pay $200 for a nice pair of ladies' dress shoes, do you want somebody greeting you in a polo shirt and khakis? It's off brand, right? That's the guy that works at Target, right? That is not the person who works at Nordstrom. You want to be greeted with someone in a suit and a tie and greets you nicely. So it creates that strategy that starts developing your brand. Okay. Then after that, you choose your place. Where are you selling whatever it is you're selling? Okay. So if are people coming to you? Is it a brick and mortar destination? Is it virtual? Is it a hybrid of those kinds of things? And then if you are a location, where are you? Are you in a mall? Are you in a strip center? Are you in a high rise? Where is that working? And those 3 things have to blend together, right? So do you want, Nordstrom is not in the ghetto, right? Nordstrom is in fancy malls, fancy, high-end places. It is not in, well, I'm not going to insult anybody, but it's not in lower areas, lower socioeconomic areas. It's not next to a Walmart, right? Which Walmarts are kind of ubiquitous. It doesn't matter. Everybody can shop at a Walmart. It's very accessible, right? But Nordstrom isn't next to it. That doesn't match that branding for either one of them, right? It says something wrong. Okay. So after you get those 3 things in line, then you move into promotion. And this is the mistake I see people make time and time again. They are not clear about their product. They're not clear about where they're going to offer this or how they're going to offer this. They're not clear about their pricing. It goes all over the place. They have sort of the sliding scale that isn't laid out. They, sort of are wishy-washy. And then they go right to promotion. They take to social media because that's the way to promote these days. They go to social media. They're not clear about what they're trying to accomplish, and they get zero results. They're just randomly posting things. They may be posting a lot of quotes just to have filler, just to, try to say, hey, I'm out there. Have a great day. Oh, we have to do video. Okay, I'll be on video. Hi. What's your New Year's resolution? Which has nothing to do with their product. You've seen this. I know you have. So you need to be very strategic. And when you've been very smart about outlining specifically what your product is, the price, the place, then you take to promotion, it will all make more sense and your brand will start really taking shape. Now, in promotion, there's a million ways to promote yourself. I like to divide promotion into two big buckets, advertising and public relations. And some people say, oh, that's too strict, but let's start there. There may be some other things that you think are outside of those two things, but let's start there. So advertising, think of it as paid persuasion. When you buy an ad, you dictate what publication you're buying it in, where you want it. Like if you want the inside front cover or a right side layout that gets a little more attention, you can dictate that. And perhaps you'll pay a price that matches that, right? So then you decide what the headline is, what the image is, what your copy is, what your call to action is, where you put your website, where you put a QR code. All of those things are up to you to decide. Right? And if it goes wrong, there's a contractual agreement that you can go back to that purveyor of whatever the publication is and say, hey, this ran wrong. What are you going to do about it? And they can negotiate with you, either giving your money back or giving you, an ad in the next one. If it's past the time of the event or whatever you're promoting, you need to negotiate. Well, then I want 2 of these next year around this time, and you're going to give them to me for free. Okay, it's very contractual. Public relations is not so contractual. So public relations, you probably do tactics that are in the bucket of public relations, but you don't call them that. So how many of you sent out some sort of holiday card to your clients in the last month or so? No. Nobody. That would be a kind of, okay, Michael did. Yay, Michael. That would be a kind of public relation tactic. Okay. How many of you now, okay, so being in Rotary and being out there in the community, that is a tactic of public relations. You are relating to your public, just like it lays out. It's a friendship that you're creating. You don't have as much control over it. Just like any relationship, it's not that contractual thing. You're my friend, right? So you have to drive me to the airport and you have to help me move. No, we don't do that with our friends. We know who to ask for those kinds of things and when to do that and when it's appropriate and when we're overstepping. Okay, so it's about those relationship qualities. So public relations, you can do a lot with public relations without spending a lot of money. Don't overlook media relations. You can still send out a press release very easily and attract a reporter to your story that is meaningful and relevant today. You have to think through what that is to be newsworthy. Okay, don't just go, yep, I exist. Don't you want to do a feature on me? Tie what you're doing to something. If it's, National Women's Month, or it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, or something that aligns with what you do and your values, then you can attract a reporter to write that story for you. Okay, but you don't have control over that message like you do in an ad. So you might write a press release. It gives you a few tidbits about who you are and what you want to promote, and then they can take it and make their own story. So there's no contractual obligation. Okay. So if they leave something out or they found something on your website, you invited them to go there. If they say, I had this client once, it kept getting mad. Why did they keep saying that we heralded from University of Michigan? We don't want to talk about that anymore. We're based in Boston, Massachusetts. Why do they keep saying that? I go, that's in your boilerplate information that you gave me. This started as a graduate program, graduate project at University of Michigan. They're like, oh. But even if they had read another article about that company and pulled that, it's public information. They can use that however they want. So you don't have tight control over public relations, but it's a lot less expensive. Okay, so now let's get into the laws of promotion. Okay, so how many of you are familiar with your Newtonian physics? Do you remember your laws of motion? Okay, well, we'll start here. Okay, so the first law of motion, and this is Newton looking at the world, thinking about how things work. Einstein built on his work and et cetera, et cetera. I won't bore you with all of that kind of stuff. But what Newton said, first of all, very basic law. A body at rest stays at rest, and a body in motion stays in motion unless acted on by an outside force. Okay, so think of working your business, or even if you're on a board of a nonprofit, you might see this. You're on the board of Rotary, you might see this. When you're at rest, nothing's happening. When you're not recruiting members to your club, not as many people are joining. When you have a membership VP who says, we all need to bring a guest, you start seeing people bring guests. They start getting that motion, and then it becomes a habit, and that body in motion stays in motion. So if you're promoting your own business or anything as a volunteer, you start seeing that you have some momentum when you start doing things, right? You had a big event and then you thanked everybody for coming, and now they want to do something else. Like, how else can we get involved? That was so much fun. I love your organization. I didn't know you stood for this. I didn't know you had so many fantastic people involved in this. I want to do more. So it's very important that if you're expecting to get results, you have to do something. You have to move your feet. And you'd be surprised. You're thinking, no, duh, right? But I don't know how many times. I remember years ago, I was an ambassador with the Long Beach Chamber. I'm very pro-chamber, pro-business group. Join something you'll see that there's a case study in the book. So if you buy the book, you'll see I have people going out and about and doing things like you are. I'd say, how are you enjoying your chamber membership? I was an ambassador. And they said, oh, it's not really doing it for me. Well, what have you been to? Well, I haven't really been able to go to the meetings. Okay. Did you go to so you haven't come to the breakfast meetings that were every week? No. Have you gone to one of the luncheons that's quarterly? No. Have you been using your directory and looking for people in like-minded areas to see if they can refer you, see if they want to know? Okay, you weren't working your chamber membership. That's like saying, I bought a hammer, it never built anything for me. It's ridiculous, but that is the mindset of people. Oh, really? I'm going to pay you, and you better do what you're supposed to do for me. No. Emily, did you want to say something? Oh, you look like you were in agreement. So, and then they don't renew their membership. Well, they weren't making the organization better anyway. So until they get that and they feel that they have to, move their feet, they're just going to stay there anyway. So that's law one. Okay, law two, it's a little bit more complicated. It's force equals mass times acceleration. So if you think about, it's easier to move a basketball than it is to move a car. Right? If you're going to push a car, or push a basketball, it's easier, right? Because the mass of a basketball is super small, right? And so it takes less force. It takes less force to get it fast, that acceleration. So when we apply this to promotions, think of mass as the size of the business or organization that you're trying to promote, right? So Disneyland has to do more than a school carnival. Its mass is much bigger. Does that make sense? So Disneyland has to do a lot more to fill its parks all over the world than the school carnival has to do. So it's just scalability, right? Okay, times acceleration. That's how quickly you want to meet your goals. So when you set your goal for the year, How quickly do you want to meet that goal? Is it a 6 month? Is it a year? Is it 2, 3, 5 years out? That's what you want to be mindful of. That's your acceleration portion. And then when you think of how big it is, what you're trying to accomplish, how soon you want to accomplish it, then you get how much force you need to do. Right. So Disneyland has to put ads in all sorts of convention and visitors bureaus all over the world, plus hotels, plus TV, plus, right, plus their studios, and it's a layered thing. If you're just promoting a school carnival, how far are people going to go for a school carnival? A few blocks, right? Maybe a couple miles if it's a super fun one. If you're, cultivating your alumni, whatever. But then how much can you hold? What infrastructure, what's the infrastructure? Can you handle 1,000 people at your school carnival? Maybe, maybe not. We always went to the Catholic Church school carnivals were always the best ones to go to. They'd have good food. So think about that. So if you super tiny, you don't have to buy a Super Bowl ad, right? Think of your place. Who are you trying to attract? How many people are going to go to that? I've worked with nonprofits to do the exact same thing, one in the Inland Empire, one in Los Angeles, exact same thing. Their unique quality was their geography. People were only going to go so far to get those services, right? So they didn't have, the place in LA doesn't have to buy advertising throughout California. You didn't even have to go as far as Inland Empire. They just have to get there a certain radius and they'll have enough people for their infrastructure. Okay, so be very mindful of that. And then the last law is, and Hamilton accentuated this, and you've heard it before, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, so think about this when it comes to crises or for a small business or a small nonprofit, it would be like a review on Yelp. That can be devastating for a small business. Disneyland gets a bad review. That person had a bad day, right? Something went wrong and we're really sorry, right? But that's the anomaly when you have thousands of people talking about it being the happiest place on earth. So, but if you are a small family-owned business, then, a few bad Yelp reviews or, Google reviews, that can really hurt you. So when that happens, there's certain steps you need to take on to make sure that you make that right. So first you need to investigate and make sure that that really happened, right? Because there are horrible people out there who just write bad reviews and expect to get a free meal or whatever. They're just cranky people. Make sure it happened. If you can publicly acknowledge that it happened and make it right. In equal and opposite, and I would say beyond equal, you want to do more to make it right than just equal. So if somebody, okay, so here's a good example. So somebody was at a restaurant, the server was new and didn't know what they were doing, and they spilled food all over this woman's clothing. And they said, oh, we're sorry. We'll take the drinks off your bill. That's not enough. That's not even equal. She's humiliated. She has to sit there now for the rest of the meal. Hopefully they brought her a new meal, right? They need to pay for the dry cleaning. They need to probably give them the whole bill for free. Like, go above and beyond to make it right. Please come back. Here's another $50 gift certificate to come back at another time. Please let us make this right. Okay. That kind of reaction sits very well with anyone observing, as well as the person there. Okay. So if they can say, yeah, we had a bad experience, but they were the most gracious people in the world, we're going to go back, then now you've won a client for life. And the two ways you get clientele is repeat and referral. So once you've met them, usually it starts with the referral. I'm starting my business. Do you know anyone who can use marketing PR? And the people go, yeah, I do. I'm on this board. We don't know what we're doing. Can you come in? Can you give us a little workshop? Can you do this? Can you write press releases for us? So it starts with the referral. I want to repeat that business. And then I want to ask for more business to get even more referrals. Okay. And so that's how simple marketing can be. You don't have to overthink it. And I think that's what people do. They make the mistake of running into promotion before they have their foundational pieces of the product, the price, and the place. And they make mistakes. And it's hard to reverse that. Okay. And then after, you're constantly evaluating what's working. I'll give you permission to not continue to do things that aren't working just because that's what you think you have to do. It's not. I have a full plate of business, probably too much. Yeah, constantly working. Okay. I post once or twice a week on social media. On Tuesdays, I post a Talk About Tuesday tip. And then sometimes I post something else. Okay. Social is very social. What gets the most results for me is when I say, my husband and I are at this great restaurant. Everybody loves it. Right. But which keeps me, in people's feed. But that's not what I'm promoting. Right. So just be mindful of that. Now, yes, you can go viral. Yes, there are ways to really leverage social media, but you have to be mindful of the size of your organization, right? How much force do you need? If you have 1 million likes, what are you going to do with those? Right? Can you have 1 million members in your organization? Can you have 1 million, even a fraction of that for customers? What can you handle? So you want to adjust your force accordingly. Okay. And evaluate. See what's working. And just because it works for other people does not mean it's necessarily going to work for you. And that's okay. Don't beat yourself up on, well, it's working for them. It just doesn't matter. Okay. That's my shortish speech. Do you have questions? Raymond, I will email you the handout and you can get it to people later.
Yeah, I have updated the settings, but you have to restart the meeting to have it take effect. So
that makes sense.
But I'll turn over to Mike. He's our president there.
Okay. Hi, Mike.
Hi. Sorry, I apologize for the tardiness, but yeah. So I'm glad that I was able to hop on at the beginning of your presentation. We'll go ahead and open it up to questions. Any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself, raise your hand. Steve, I see a hand.
Not really a question, just a comment to what you kind of finished with there, Leslie, in terms of not continuing to do something that doesn't work. I spent 2 years spending money on a review website. And what I realized, reviews are great, but when people reach out to you on a site like that, it doesn't really help in the insurance industry because all they're saying is, I want auto insurance, and you don't have their name, their address, their car information. So they want immediate impact, which if you're a restaurant and you want to check a menu, a place like that is great. But I spent a whole lot of money for a couple years before I finally said, okay, this isn't for me. So thank you for saying that and confirming that I did the right thing.
Yes. Yeah. If it's not working, it's not working. And that's, people will say all the time, well, I do this and I do that. And I'm like, okay, if that's what works for you, so, and you can spend, like, social media is one of those things and I do it for some of my clients and it works wonders for them. Right. So I have an organization that prevents and treats child abuse. And so we'll do a lot of tips for keeping things calm through the holidays, tips for better parenting, tips of things to do that don't cost a lot of money, that gives you family time, right? So those kinds of things they're super useful for them. And it's not necessarily asking them for money. We get to that point too, right? But we're not always asking for money. So then when you're giving that information that's helpful to people that they can put to use, they can share it. Then when it's time to ask for money, they're like, oh my gosh, I got so much value from following them, so yes, here's my, $20 or whatever. It doesn't have to be a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question, Leslie.
Yes.
So you said something about your Talk About Tuesday quote. Is that on your website? Is that on Facebook? Is it on
It's
it?
on Instagram. It's
Is
on
that-
Instagram and Facebook. And then I do the little video, I upload it to Instagram and Facebook, and then I download it from there and I add it to my YouTube channel.
Okay, so it kind of goes out, has tentacles
Right.
out.
Yes. So when you can go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say repurposing content makes it super easy. Right?
That mean repurpose.
So I take that video and then I put it on YouTube, and then I add more copy because Google likes that. So I add a little bit more of a story, and sometimes I'll take that story and I'll use it on a story on medium.com, which is a freelance writing format platform.
So if it goes out to the different media platforms, you change it up a little bit for each one so that it's not super redundant.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do you do again?
Well, I'm
You're
retired.
retired. Okay, very good.
I started a nonprofit, so we're just getting
very good.
still in the strategy part.
Okay, good. Well, I would say here, what I can do, put in the chat, is my website. Read my blog posts. And if you want, subscribe to oh, look, it's magic. There's the handout. And on the handout, I think Ray's going to send this out too. There's links on the bottom that have my social media links and the Amazon link to the book. But on the website, I have tons of, go to my blog and you'll just start reading things. There's lots of tips for nonprofits and stuff.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. And then if you subscribe to my e-news, every Monday I send out a tip.
I had a question.
Yes.
So it seems like we do something very similar career-wise because we do run our own marketing firm here in Azusa. But I guess my question is, with your clients, how would you best do your analytic reporting? Because I know that marketing is very broad, and social media marketing especially, like, oh, like, is this working? It's not working. Am I getting business from it?
Mhm.
So what's like the best answer for that? Because I do know that it takes a while to get like a following or a certain amount of likes on something.
Right.
So do you do like monthly analytics for that? Do you sit down with your client once a month? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I ignore all of that. I know that's an anomaly, but we can see like what has a lot of traction, like by the number of likes, right? Which is public to everyone. Sometimes we'll look at things and there's no rhyme or reason why something worked or something didn't. I look for patterns. I don't look for, well, this had 16 likes and this had 15 likes or 10 likes, whatever. I know that if we do something that features their staff, there's tons of likes because their staff not only interacts with, their clientele who follows and goes, oh, there's Patty, I love her, and they like it. Patty's family likes it, right? And so it's that social element that shines through on that. I love it when I post tips and see shares. And I can click on that just on the public facing side and see who's shared it. And a lot of times it's board members, which it matters, right? I like board members who share stuff because that has some exponential reach. Sometimes it is clients, and I don't know exactly who they are because of laws, but I can tell. Right. I can tell who's sharing it and where it's going and that kind of stuff. But I don't go back in the nitty gritty. I will look for patterns. I will say posts early in the week for us do not do well. So I just ignore Mondays, right? Tuesdays through Sunday work better. Evening. And that's where I do pay attention. I post through Meta and they'll give you active times. Like I don't know if you use HubSpot or anything like that, they may give you that.
Metrical, so yes.
Okay, so they may give you, these are the active times. So evenings are best, which makes sense. They're scrolling when it's after work, winding down, that kind of stuff. And sometimes that's surprising. It'll be Thursday at 8 p.m. is when I'm like, but I follow that. And it does seem to match, right? The results we get when I follow their pattern match. And sometimes it's we need to get this out for the week. So yes, we'll do it on Monday because that's what we're doing. And that's okay. But yeah, just pay attention to patterns. Don't get too. I worked with a social media company who said all their posts with yellow got. I'm like, do you really think that's the thing? It's yellow is what's making people react to that. And so then how did that convert? Can you say that the people who liked the post with yellow, it was for a restaurant, then came in and bought the stuff and bought the, the chicken wings that you promoted? I don't know if you can, right? So, nothing is a conversion until they've walked into your office.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Hi, Leslie. I have a question.
Yes.
So I understand the 4 Ps. So what about what if the product is not necessarily something you buy, like knowledge, right?
Right.
If you're selling knowledge.
Right.
And for someone to hire you to provide them knowledge, you know, like you need to show them that your product is you're an expert in this thing they need knowledge in. And if you still have not asserted yourself there, you've got to actually showcase your knowledge. And for me, that has been social media. So because we're starting kind of like from the bottom, it feels like through advertising myself, how then do I figure out, a price range, place if I'm not working within a consultant company, right?
Okay.
I'm trying to tell the world this is my product, and my product is knowledge, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
how does these 4 Ps go if the product is not something you buy or something you advertise as an actual product that you can
Sure. So first, I want to thank you for bringing up too, because you're saying that that it showcases your knowledge, and you very much can use social media to showcase your brand, right? So people get a feel for what you're doing. And so if you are, and what is your field?
Research, so policy.
Oh, okay. So you want to make sure that your branding always looks very smart, right? So you're not going to have any weird graphics or anything that distracts from that, right? Even if that's the coolest thing on Instagram right now, or you're not doing a dance on TikTok to promote your research, right? Unless you want to work with kids, right? Meet your market. So the research, you're going to be more project based, I think. So you are going to come up with some sort of pricing, and you kind of have to get a feel for what other people are pricing out there. So when you're starting a business, everything is a hypothesis. So just count on making some adjustments along the way. That's why you want to keep evaluating. Okay. So it doesn't mean that you need to do like super dirt cheap stuff all the time, right? Because you want to be elevated and you need to make a living for this. So, but you want to be fair in the market, and you may have to go a little lower to start until you build up your reputation. And then people will tell you. I do a lot of RFPs and stuff, and sometimes people are like, you could have bid more. That they like you, they know you, they go, yeah, Leslie, bid a little more. Or they'll go, this is what our budget is. Like, so they'll let you know that you can, elevate yourself a bit, and you'll get a feel for that. And you'll know if you've been too high for what the work is, you can adjust. And so you might start with a range. So when you're meeting somebody to talk about your, policy research, you may say, what is your budget? And sometimes they're like, I don't know, I want to see what you say. So you bracket. This is a sales technique. So you say, if I said, $7,500 to $10,000, is that too much? Or are we in the ballpark? Right? Or if I said $20,000, are we in the ballpark? If I said $3,000 a month, are we in the ballpark? And I think this will take me 6 months. So play with that. Yeah. So, and you're going to have to evaluate that. And just keep going. And, when whatever colleagues you have, just ask them about pricing. Some will share, some won't, but you'll get a feel. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. that was a great presentation. I really appreciated toward the end where you kind of said you need to lay that foundation of identifying your 4 Ps before you start promoting and putting yourself out there, because it's hard to undo. Laying that foundation, because in my industry, in mortgage and real estate, you hear a lot of people say, just put yourself out there, just, with no strategy, no plan. And it is refreshing to hear a professional say, that's probably not the best way to go about it.
Yes, definitely think it through. And you may have to adjust.
Sure.
A lot of people, the whole premise of their work gets changed.
Yeah.
I worked with a social media company who thought they were going to teach people to use social media, and nobody wanted to pay for that. They're like, no, I think I can figure it out. And so then I go, they want you to implement. So that they turned their whole business around. Right. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get into some of our our club business.
Sure.
You're more than welcome to stay if you'd like, or if you need to go. I just want to respect your time.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Well, I blocked out the hour, so I'll stay for a little while.
All right, great.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and I'll put my email in here too if you have any questions.
Perfect. Yes, please do.
Okay.
I think in the just looking at the clock, I think that we, unless there's objections, skip the Find Master today. All right, so let's just keep rolling. Action 360, RILA student presentation. Steve, do you want to jump in there?
That I believe, probably pass it on to Raymond. I think it's the 21st, Raymond. Is that correct? But we're still waiting on confirmation.
Well, I know we were you were reaching out to Jay and he wanted a head count. So is that kind of where we're at?
Yeah. So I told him 20, as you said, with January 21st, 6 p.m. Senior Center. Somebody needs to invite the RILA students. Somebody needs to get the pizza. Somebody needs to get the drink. Somebody needs to get the paper goods. So volunteers on what?
I'll get pizza. I typically do that every year, so I'm happy to do that.
Awesome. And drinks and paper goods?
Yeah, I get that.
All right, cool. Who was I? Who said that?
Steve.
All right, Steve. And then who's going to reach out to the RILA kids?
So I already reached out to both the principal from San Dimas and Sean Casey. I did that prior to them going on break. I will do that again just for confirmation.
Great. So we have that as an event. I'll make sure everybody gets an invitation, and that's coming up quick at the Senior Center. And that's a really great hour in the evening we spend with those kids. So that's all we got to do on that. I think we moved to teacher mini grants.
Excellent. Teacher mini grants. Steve, is that okay to kick to you? Because I know you were chairing the review committee.
Yeah, that I will take. Right. First, thank you to Rita, Craig, and Anthony, who were the 3 judges. We ended up with, I can't remember if it was 12 or 13 applicants. We selected 6. It was a nice mix. There were some real similarities between all 3 of the judges in terms of how they ranked. And then there were some real variances. So I tried to do my best to take a composite of that. All 6 teachers have been notified. They were notified today. We are scheduled to be a part of the February 4th BUSD school board meeting at their district office. That'll start at 6. They asked everybody to be there slightly before 6. I've been communicating with Jennifer Flores over at the district to get all of that coordinated. So I haven't heard back from any teachers yet, but that's not surprising. They're in school. They're not checking their emails right now. But I just asked them to confirm their attendance. And if they couldn't, let me know so we could send them a check. There was one non-BUSD student or teacher, somebody from Holy Name, who's a recipient. So I reached out to them as well.
Great.
Are you going to want the giant checks at the board meeting?
Do we only have 5 or do we have 6?
I think we have 5. I guess I'll get and see if I can order one. There's enough time to buy another one.
Yeah, if you want to get a 6th one, if we only have 5, I don't want to do it unless somebody's not going to show up. So why don't we hold off maybe till Monday? And if somebody's RSVPs that they're unable to attend, we know 5's going to work. If everybody's going to be there, we can order a 6th.
Let me know what to do and I'll do it.
Whichever one's presented first, we dry erase it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
For the 6th.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I mean, if we get 5 out of 6 showing up, I'd be happy with that. So
So would I.
yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Do we anything else on teacher mini grant? Steve, I know you reached out about the board meeting, I believe February 4th.
Correct. Yeah, February 4th, 6 p.m.
Okay, great. And I will be there. March food drive.
Just the teacher mini grants, our total was $3,000 that we're, Steve?
Actually, I think it was 9,000 or 950. Somebody wanted 450, not 500.
Okay, all right. I think this is 9,000. My heart
Yeah,
stopped for a
sorry.
moment.
Yeah. Well, and then 900, I was like, what? Are people asking for, $150?
Raymond,
right,
I'll send you a summary of teachers' names and the amounts. There are two of the recipients are part teams. So 2 teachers from Gladstone and then 2 from Lone Hill who applied together. So I'll get you everybody's name and the dollar amounts.
Awesome.
Can
So
you
March,
copy me on that too, please, Steve?
Yeah, of course.
Excellent. Thank you.
March food drive. So we're going to be in the envelope stuffing phase next week. Got to stuff about 3,000 envelopes. I will tell you, Melissa Moon donated all the printing this time, so that saved feeding military families upwards of $500. The food drive is on March 14th. The kickoff party is on March 12th. As you know, we've raised this club. Look around the room here. 40 tons of food supplies to more than 5 military bases. So we will want to get 5 or 6 tons out this time. I mean, if we could get up to 10 and we could cross the 50 mark, that'd be kind of cool. Also, part of it, the Red Robin gift cards, they gave us $5,950 in gift cards. We gave $2,900 in gift cards to the Loma Linda Veterans Hospital, focusing on the amputee clinic. We gave $1,000 to the LA Space Force for airmen who stayed at home during the holidays. We gave $1,000 to Hope for Housing, which is low income housing for vets in Pomona. And those are the ones that are on the edge with drug and alcohol issues. And then $1,000 to the Coast Guard because we can. And we know why that is. It was appreciation based, not needs based. So we did it to veterans and military personnel. So that's it. I'll need help stuffing envelopes probably end of next week. And I'll just coordinate with Glenn a time when the lodge is available to have an envelope stuffing party. If you can stop by for 20 or 30 minutes and stuff stuff, you don't need to stay the entire time. Rita knows what a big deal it is. So that's what we need. That's it.
And that's just going to be to be determined, but the second half of next week.
Yeah, the second half of next week, because we're going to have want to get the mailer out middle of January. I saw your email about Ryla. Or TLC. I don't know if we did an intent on TLC. I know we did Ryla. I think we should ask Regatta. And as soon as you know, Mike, let me know and I'll go up and pay for it.
Well, there's a link there.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Of course, it doesn't work.
It's only for you. I tried it. It's only for the recipient or something.
Oh, well, I'll click it after we get off the meeting. I'll click it and see if I can. I just don't want to sign up double because I know Regatta will be like, no, you owe the money. So okay, I will check that when we get off of here, and I'll send you an email. And I will plan on being there. As of right now, my calendar is pretty open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. So I'll plan on coming by the lodge.
Awesome.
All right. Next page of the agenda, calendar. You want to put that up?
Yeah. So we had a great presentation today by Leslie, but we have coming up. Hang on, let me get centered here. Oh, okay. So this is really this guy next speaker is Manny Pacheco. He's been on the radio forever if you're a LA person, and he's written a book, Forgotten Hollywood. And this is another one of those, this Zoom thing does us really well because we'd never get this guy to come down. But following that, we've got another one on high performance teams in February. March is Raising Your Energy with Dave Friedman. And then I'm trying to get the Coast Guard to come in at the end of March. So if you've got ideas for speakers, we'll start to put together next Rotary year's calendar. We're already in January, which is very cool. That's it. That's your calendar.
All right.
Mike,
Thank
can
you,
I have a
Raymond.
second?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Next Thursday, the chamber is having our mixer, but it's now going to be an ambassador mixer. So if we could
Okay.
envelope stuffing day on any day but that Thursday.
Do you have a location, and is that
It will be at the chamber office.
is it
Sylvia Clark is
4:30 or
on at 5,
5?
5 o'clock. So
Okay, I'll put that on my
that's all I
calendar
have.
right now.
Hey, Glenn, while I got you on, do you have the lodge calendar in front of you? I can ask you. Is it available? And he's going to get up and get the calendar. By the end of the meeting, we'll settle the date. I think I'm looking at the 16th if it's open. If not, the evening of the 14th. Because I obviously will be the mixer as we have the teacher of the year meeting, ambassador meeting, a whole bunch of stuff that day on that Thursday.
16th would be wonderful. I know it's Friday night. I could also bring Nick and Vinny to help stuff envelopes as well.
Yeah, my request was going to be, if we're going to do it on Friday, can we have it wrapped up by 4 or 5?
My son's on vacation. I also know a couple of people that can help. So,
Well, there's Glenn. Glenn is very studiously putting on his glasses and checking the availability.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm down to help too. I just want to know what the time's going to be.
So you want the 7th, 8th, 9th?
No, the 16th, just the 16th.
14th through 16th, or just 16th?
Just the 16th. Is there anybody there that night?
Nobody's there that night. I do have to set up tables for a renter Saturday afterwards.
We can work around, and I'll help you set up. So we can work around whatever.
I have a lot of tables at my place. If we wanted to do it during the day, knock it out also. I mean, I've got a whole back area with all those picnic benches and whatnot. If you wanted to set it up there, we're not doing anything during the day.
Yeah, well, okay, so raise of hands who can be there during the day. Let me take that off so I can see gallery. Raise your hands Friday the 16th during the day.
Well, what's during the day?
Envelope stuffing at High Point.
No, she means time.
Huh?
What time are we starting?
I don't know. I would like to, well, I would like to start 4 o'clock on Friday the 16th at the lodge.
Which is exactly the time Mike wanted it to end.
No, that's fine. I can be there from like 4 to 5.
Yeah.
I could be there. My day will clear up around 3, so I could be there at 3 if you wanted to do it a little bit earlier.
If we start at 3, you'll get me for 2 hours.
Let's start at 3 o'clock Friday the 16th at the lodge. And show up if you can do 15, 20 minutes. That's just the labor. And plus, it's always fun to mess around and kid each other.
I'll be there.
Sounds good.
All right. So we're set. Friday the 16th at 3 p.m. Thank you so much. And we'll get these. I'll get the envelopes all printed up. And if the 2026 gets off the dime and gets the 1-page thing done by then, we can do those envelopes on the same day.
That's a great idea.
We could do 4,000 envelopes.
Raymond, let me know. Just shoot me an email when you find out prospective dates for Marine Corps dinner, so I can reach out to Bertha at the club.
Okay, I'm going to hold a meeting I'm just going to invite everybody to a meeting next week. What Mike is alluding to is LPU is a no-go on the dinner next year. So what we want to do is ask the Glendora Country Club. And I just need to look at dates. The November 10th is on a Tuesday. If we go to the country club, now we have alcohol, which is good because people wanted alcohol. But now I think we should move it to a Friday or a Saturday so that it's a better gig. And I just want everybody's input on that. But I'll send an email about that next week.
If it's easier for them to do it on that Monday or Tuesday, would that be okay? I'm just thinking Saturday's a big wedding day. So I don't know there may be less conflicts if we were to do it on that Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
I mean, I'll ask him about the whole weekend if you want, but I have no idea what the calendar looks like.
Okay. And we got to find out costs. We got to go there and visit. There's all kinds of things. Let's see what flexibility there is in the group, Steve, and I will get back to you because I do want to make that reservation as soon as possible.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and I know we really wanted to keep this event in the city of San Dimas, But if we can't, I can't think of a more perfect venue than Glendora Country Club for this event.
It's a regional event now anyway. And so the Satellite Rotary Club Military Family Sport, the major sponsor, doesn't have a geographic designation. So, it's like 2026. I mean, we're not saying it's Rotary, but if we look around the room, everybody's a Rotarian. So, the same with that. Okay. You want to see the four-way test?
No, actually, I'll pull it off the wall. This is just something I keep up in my office, hanging on the wall here. But yeah, the four-way test is an ethical test developed by Rotarians of everything we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And that's something I keep up here right by my diplomas and licenses. And, just as a reminder that, if you can pass all four of these tests, you can be very confident that you're acting in an ethical manner. And that's today's four-way test. Closing remarks. I know we're right on the dot, 1 p.m. Does anybody have anything urgent to highlight or add that we did not cover today? All right. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance, and especially to our presenter. Great information. Really, really enjoyed that and appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for being here today. Great meeting.